So, what have I learned in my time in Spain? I'm not going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I'm just going to run down a load of things I've simply listed and we'll explain them to you. First thing is cheap flights. Certain times of year there is cheap flights, but also you have to bear in mind they book up very quickly. For example, Alicante Airport this month is up by 25% on its users. As such, they're selling out quite rapidly. Around November is quite quiet, so they reduce the flights, so the prices can go up. So the flexibility in flying backwards and forwards is very dodgy. If you're doing it on a regular basis, recommend booking 5 weeks in advance. The other thing you find is sometimes it's cheap going to Spain and expensive coming back, and then you get the reverse. So bear that in mind. The most expensive flight I think I paid is, was it £250 for a flight? Maybe nearly, no, it was nearly 400 quid. Cheapest one's been about 30. You just have to be very careful with flights. So commuting wise, I'd recommend booking 5 weeks in advance because prices go up as the plane fills up. So that's what I recommend. If you're going to be doing work in the UK, like I want to do contracting, for example, I would look at the weeks before and the weeks after to see when it's the cheapest. Then hop. You know, if I can get a flight for this week and I'm working next week, in 2 weeks, and it's only £30 for the flight, it might be better for me to fly a week early before the tourism kicks in. You know what I'm talking about. Easiest way to check it out is go to places like Ryanair, EasyJet and Monarch Airways and just compare the prices over a period of time. Just jot down how much they are. They'll give you an idea of the prices over the year as well. Getting a job in Spain, very, very hard in this area. There's a lot of seasonal stuff that's a bit further north of me. There's call centres as well that utilise people, but you have to be able to take the abuse all day. I believe they're doing PPI at the moment, and you know, the missold policies and stuff. So there is work there, but it's not easy to find, and don't expect that you'll just wander into a bar and pick up a job. There aren't that many jobs in that way, this way, but there might be up in Benidorm. But if it's out of a tourist hotspot, and when I say tourist, I'm not talking about the retirees. The retirees don't like spending money, and they got the same haunts every day. I'm talking about up in Benidorm, where holiday season, they need a load of workers that they sack as things go out of season, and then rehire. That's where you'll get your easiest work. Coming down to Torrevieja or whatever, there's not a lot of that seasonal work about, purely because most of the people here are retirees. They do get tourists, but not on the same sort of scale. Expats Help You Out. I would actually say it's 50-50. 50% of the expats have been pretty good, and the other 50 will rip you off. Don't expect the expats to put themselves out. A lot of them will not. For example, we're part of a Schengen group and everyone's in the same scenario, so as such everyone's very helpful in there because they want to help each other, because they're going through the same processes and all the paperwork and legislation, so that environment works quite well. The miserable old git that lives above or below your apartment and is an alcoholic, he's not going to be so helpful, is he? In the same way, if somebody wants to do your paperwork processing, they rip you off. I'll be honest with you, it's shameful the amount some of these people are charging purely because they speak Spanish. A lot of the time they have no idea how anything works. All it is they can fill the forms in for you, then take it to somebody that's actually capable of processing it. When you say, can you do this, or how's this work, they don't know, and as such I think that's a really poor service. For example, the Padron. Padron's only one sheet of paper. You just go down with your passport, your contract of rent, hand them over the counter, guy looks at them, asks you how many copies you want, bam bam bam, prints them off, stamps them, gives them to you. €110 they charge for that round here. 110. Really annoys me because it's theft. In my eyes, it's theft. Getting fluent in Spanish in a year, you've no hope. I'll be honest with you, if somebody can learn Spanish in a year, good on you, because it is complicated. It's a very strange language for me. The structure is very strange, and some words can be used for 7 different things, and what it means is completely different on each one. So structuring it is not easy. I do recommend Duolingo, but don't do the 3 a day. You need to be like your diet on a 5 a day minimum. Do 5 a day every day, and you'll find your vocabulary builds up. Your sentence structures will still be terrible for a while, but at least you're building up your vocabulary, so you can understand when somebody says pen or newspaper or carta for a letter or libre for a book. See, you can have libre. There's so many words that are the same as well. Like a book has like libre and libro, different depending how it's used in the sentence structure. So it's complicated. 1 year, I would say, to get fluent, probably 2 to 3 years, in being realistic for the average person. Myself, April's miles ahead of me, but so many words are already in Cebuano. But for me, I find it hard, and I recently did a 50-day streak on Duolingo. I missed a day because we'd gone out somewhere, so when I thought I'd do it before I go to bed, I missed it, so I've now reset that to go on another streak. But the point is, Duolingo, download it, get it on your phone, work with that. There's a lot of audiobooks out there, and one of the things, once you've got a bit of vocabulary and a bit of Spanish ability, get yourself a exchange partner and do Skype chats with each other. You help them with their English, they help you with your Spanish. But they also help you with your English, because there's a lot of stuff in the English language you may not have gone over since you left school. So when you start going over your grammar and whatever, you'll actually be improving your own English as well as your Spanish at the same time. That's what, I'll be honest with you, that's the reality. I was hoping to be a lot more fluent than I am, but I'm so busy with other stuff, it's suffering, because it'd be nice to do 8 hours a day on Spanish till I really grasped it. But the other problem is you really need that engagement with a Spanish speaker, which currently I can't get. Avoid the alcohol. This is something, I'm not saying as somebody's a heavy drinker, but I see people drink a lot more than they normally would. Myself, I have some wine or beer on a Friday, that's about it. In fact, I didn't have any on Friday this week. But the point being is, it's so cheap, and if you're going through the stress of setting up in a new country, it's very easy to slip a bottle of wine. Wine can be like €1 a bottle. The cheap carton stuff, which should be used for cooking, goes as low as 40 cents a bottle, a carton, a litre. If you take your own jug, we have a wine shop here that will refill the whole jug for you. So it tells you how cheap the wine is. Don't get yourself into bad habits. That's all I'm saying on that, because you'll know yourself if you like your tipple or not, and if it's cheap, you might like it too much. You get tired of Brits, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not anti-British. It's just that some of the stuff people get up to is, I can't say animal-like, because it's not. I mean, I've got friends here in this area that go to Benidorm to look at the British tourists because they see them as some primitive drinking monster. They'll actually go up there to watch the tourists because of the stuff they get up to. A grown man drunk in the street with his trousers down his ankles and that sort of stuff at 10 o'clock in the morning because he's already wasted. That's the sort of thing that the British have sort of brought to Spain in many ways. This is where people need to understand what's changed over the years relating to Brits. When Brits come over in the 50s and the 60s, they weren't binge drinkers. Over the years, people have declined because you had the 50s, 60s, your factory workers, that sort of stuff come over. Then you had your drug culture and stuff with Ibiza and the heavy drinking and party music and stuff. And now you just have excess drinking, all you can drink, all you can eat, an all-inclusive holiday, and too many people to try to make sure they're getting their money's worth. I don't know why people do it, and it's a bit sad that they do, but I like to keep myself to myself in that sense. I've got several Brit people I actually associate with, but generally I don't mix with too many people. I just don't want it. I don't want any of that sort of environment. It's not good for the kids, not good for the family environment, etc. I've got a friend who has the problems of living in more of a resort type location because he gets all the holiday makers that make a racket till 3 a.m. getting drunk at the pool, because what happens, they go out, get wasted, and then decide to go in the swimming pool when they get home. So from about midnight they're waking everybody else up in their whole community, because the swimming pools are in the middle. So yeah, I quite like living in La Mata that's away from everything. How much money do you need to set up in Spain? It all depends on what you're looking at doing. I was listening to somebody earlier saying 3 years worth of income. What? 3 years? What are you... Are you serious? I would say 1 year. 3 months absolute minimum if you're coming on your own. Or you're coming as two working people that have got 3 months money each. Then I would say that's the absolute minimum. But ideally you want to have a job set up. Ideally you want to be hitting the ground running and not going, I'm in holiday mode, taking your time, etc. You want to get in, get your job sorted, get your apartment sorted, get making money, and then start saving some money. The important bit here, saving money, because things go seasonal in Spain. And although the summer season may have plenty of money in your pocket, by the winter there's nobody here. The other side of that being that there is work around us all year round, but it's normally commission based as well, so bear that in mind. Whether you're a real estate agent or selling in a telemarketing form, doesn't really matter. I would also say be aware in the telemarketing side that regulations are changing in the UK to the point they'll actually be suing companies up to £500,000. Rent or buy? I will tell you now, do not buy when you first come here. The reason being, unless you actually know the areas, you don't know what you're buying. For example, this morning a friend of mine's had to rip all the floor up in his rented apartment because they've plastered the tiles. Yes, I did say that right. They've plastered them. So the floor's all crumbled because all the tiles have come away, because over time the plaster's actually become brittle and just fell apart. That is pretty normal. The standard of workmanship is often atrocious. We see it all the time. We got problems in this apartment. Aircon doesn't work, but we don't need it anyway, so that's actually saving me money. Rising damp, still got a problem with that. We've had problems with the upstairs that flooded ours when they had new aircon after theirs failed. The ceilings weren't painted in this. It's all under my landlord's responsibility. But I don't even know where he is. I don't know what country he's in. Last time I heard he was in Japan. So there's work to be done here, but as long as it doesn't really affect us, I couldn't care less, because I can just say, well, I reported it all to you. You haven't done it. Not my problem. But on the buying front, you could have had all that to pay. The rise in damp is very, very common in Spain on the ground floor because of the ambient temperature, etc., etc., plus poor drainage and other things like no damp course, no DPM, damp-proof membrane, lots of reasons. that you get damp. Just be aware of that, and don't think any new buildings are going to be any different. You'd have to make sure, from construction things I've seen in Spain, I'd be very wary even on a new build that it's been built correctly, because what seems to happen is they'll do what people can see, and then sort of, if they can get away with it, get away with it. Going to the beach every day, you can do, if you're not working, but it's like the last couple of months. It's been windy, it's been rainy, it's been cold. Don't get me wrong, we still have sunshine every day, but sitting on the beach you might get sand blown in your eyes, or not hypothermia, but it's not going to be comfortable, and the water's like a glass with some ice cubes in it. It's pretty cold. So don't assume that every day is going to be, I'm off to the beach. It's not like that. Because I see a lot of people get that idea because they only come in holiday season. It's something to be aware of. There's other stuff to do. That's why I recommend getting a mountain bike and going over on the trails. There's a lot of cycle paths around. Not psychopaths, cycle paths. So utilise those. You know, get yourself out on a cycle path. So yeah, don't expect the beach to be great every day. You do get the sunshine pretty much every day, mind. You do get the odd overcast, but even then, the weather's a lot better than the UK. Let's just put it that way. Good food. Food in Spain is pretty good. I find the worst food I come across is in a lot of the restaurants. The reason being is it's paid for by the cheapo holiday makers. I'm not knocking them because, you know, I'm just being very blunt here with reality. I've tried different restaurants, and I would say 80% of those restaurants I wouldn't go back to. Paying 10-15 euros for kebab meat platter sort of thing, and it was cheap meat. It was really cheap meat. I was expecting them to actually do some proper kebabs, but it was just rubbish. It was just thrown over some nachos. It was just junk. But that's what I'm saying. Be aware, you get that sort of rubbish. The authentic Spanish restaurants are pretty good. But ultimately, the best food is normally the stuff you cook at home. The bread is really good in Spain. Don't go to the supermarkets. Go to the bakers. Go direct to the bakers and get their fresh bread. It's normally warm when you pick it up. Absolutely fantastic. They do a lot of cakes and stuff. I'm telling you not to eat those for your diet, but I'm telling you to eat them because they're tasty. The meat cuts are pretty good here. There's a lot of selection on the meats. There's a lot of variety. There's a lot of stuff that's eaten off the bone. You'll see that they have. You've probably got them in the UK now. The big meat on the. They put it on a stand and then they just shave off the bits of ham or whatever. That's pretty normal. Meat's pretty good. The fruit's very good. The vegetables are very good. There are certain times of the year where there's certain crops available. Strawberries are very good and they're huge. Same with the peppers and stuff. There's a lot of variety there that's really good. So yeah, if you can't cook, I recommend learning to cook, or learning to cook here when you've got lots of ingredients you could throw in. Price wise, I find Spain cheaper than the UK as a family. As a single person, it's very hard to tell because it all depends on people's dietary requirements. Everyone is friendly in Spain. Are they? I would say the biggest frustration you're going to get if you don't speak Spanish is people throwing you out because you don't speak Spanish. The Salud, which is the clinic, there's a nice old woman in there. She will tell people to come back when they've got somebody who speaks Spanish. She speaks English, but she's just tired of people not bothering to learn Spanish, so she'll actually reject you going in there. The foreigner's office in Torrevieja is exactly the same. They have a translator in there, but you've got to ask for her. But you've got to know what her name is. I'm not going to put her name on here because everybody's going to blame me if I did that. But the point being is, most of them will go and get a translator. They shouldn't do, because the way I look at it, when they go to the UK, we don't do that. We don't go, get out, go and pay €20 and get a translator. We go, hang on, give me the phone. Yeah, I've got somebody who doesn't speak Spanish. Okay. And we have premium rate numbers that do all the translation for us. But in Spain, a lot of these places do not like people that make no effort to speak Spanish. I tell you what is fun though, is speaking pidgin Spanish, because they will actually drop into English then, because they know your Spanish isn't very good, but also they want to get on and not listen to you all day. But it also helps your Spanish, because dragging it out of you. But the foreigners office, they don't like speaking English in there. But there is a woman in there who actually helps with foreigners. There is also, like I said, the salud. They want you to bring a translator. Most government places aren't keen on speaking English, and I would say it's probably English people that have caused it more than anything, because a lot of the attitude of some of the people, I see it when I'm out and about, and I'm just like, try not to swear, but the fact is they're horrible people. But yeah, because you got to remember, going back to the Tyler Brits comment, the Brit has changed over the years from being a sociable, nice person to being an alcoholic, loudmouth, abusive person in many people's views. The reason Spain puts up with it, I agree, is money. They want the British tourists, but they would like them if they were better behaved. So to bear that in mind. What other points could I get? What else have I learned? I think that covers most of the topics I can think of, because these are the main ones that have come out over the last year or so in Spain, and these are the critical ones that will affect your life more than anything. Like I said, if you might find people are a bit offish with you. It's not because they're offish with you, they're offish because of your English language. But I'll be honest with you, the Dutch do it, the Germans do it. The driving here is atrocious. I'm not going to say it by nationalities, because it's not all Spanish, but you've got to bear in mind there's a lot of people here from so many countries, and their driving abilities vary considerably on what they learned, or if they learned anything at all. Bump parking is very common, where they'll just bump your car with theirs. It's why I won't buy a new vehicle here. They just get damaged. I wouldn't buy a decent car for the sake of somebody putting a dent in it. The van we've got, I think, has been clipped at least 5 times so far. I've had the mirror bent back, I've had the rear bumper hit, I've had the front bumper hit, I've had the side hit, and it's all people parking. But people don't indicate here. They'll pull out in front of you rather slowly. There's lots of things that really frustrate me, but then again, I spent time in Asia, so Spain's nothing on that. Thanks for watching. Please comment, please share, and please subscribe. This channel can only grow if you help it grow, and then I'll put more effort into the videos. For example, if you want me to go and look at a town, get some fuel money in my van. Although I've got a pay button up there, what I'm looking for is actually more subscribers, because if more people subscribe and watch the videos, it will go through YouTube revenue, and then that will fund filling the van up, which means I can then drive out, because I'd love to go back to Orihuela, and I would love to go back to Murcia, Cartagena, and well, it's not Cartagena, it's Cartagena, and redo those with my new camera and stuff, but I'm looking to fund these out of this channel, which is one of the reasons I'm doing a lot more videos on it lately, because you want to see Spain, I can help you do it, but also you can ask me, Matt, can you go here next time? Give and take. All right, thanks for watching.